Thank you for joining me today as we continue our video series on CRPS. And I'm Dr. Traci Patterson with Holistic Center Treatment. And on our last video, we talked about that whole brain-pain connection. And I also mentioned that we'd start delving into neuroplasticity on the next video. So here we are. So let's jump into this. And as we start delving into this, the one thing that I want to say loud and clear is CRPS pain is very real. It's real pain. And I want to put that out there at the beginning because so many people hear me start talking about the brain-pain connection or neuroplasticity, and the next thing out of their mouth is, so you don't believe my pain is real? No, I 100% do believe that CRPS pain is real because, again, I lived with it for 7 years. But the more that we can understand those intricate pieces of CRPS and how they interconnect with the entire body, getting back to the basics of what I'm going to call the biology and the physiology of the human body, the better equipped we are to pull those pieces together so that patients can start getting that forward traction to get their life back. And with CRPS, we're told so many different things along our journey. We're told we have to live with our pain. We're told life is the best it's going to get at that moment in time, that we have to give up on our dreams and our aspirations and the things that we really thought we'd be able to do. And what I'm telling you is with the right pieces, the right information, and the right approach, you can overcome CRPS. You can get your life back. So again, the more we understand those pieces, the easier it is for our puzzle to start coming together. And when we fully understand those pieces of CRPS, that's when patients can start moving forward to reaching their goals. You can manage CRPS at a low pain level so you can get your life back, or better yet, what about remission? Being pain-free and being able to get back to doing the things you want to do. No, there's not a cure for CRPS at this moment in time, but remission or even managing your pain at a low pain level allows you to get back to living your life and doing the things that you want to do. So with all the advances that we now have with science and research in regards to the brain and the human body, we're learning more and more about why we experience pain and even the distress that it can cause. But more importantly, we're also learning that we can rewire the brain. It doesn't matter how young you are or how old you are, our brain is always adapting, it's always changing, and it has the ability to rewire. That's called neuroplasticity. And not so long ago, people were resigned to the fact that there was nothing more that they could do about their pain. But with exciting new research and discoveries about the human brain, what we're going to call pain science and neuroplasticity, we know that we can rewire the brain, and that can help the entire human body to heal. Now, neuroplasticity, pain science, and even holistic approaches all have the potential to help people from all over the world, because this is getting back to the basics of the body. And neuroplasticity, again, refers to the brain's ability to change by creating new neural pathways and eliminating neural pathways that no longer are needed or no longer serve us. And it's those neural pathways that are sending and receiving those signals when we're dealing with CRPS or chronic pain. Now, a great analogy that I use with people all the time when we're talking about neuroplasticity is a filing cabinet drawer, because every single thing that we learn in life, we learn through repetition, whether it's walking, running, riding a bike, using Snapchat or TikTok, driving, using a smartphone. Our brain learns through repetition. So when it learns something new, then our brain creates a file folder for it. So that way we don't have to relearn it every single time. So the next time you get up to decide to go walk across the room, you don't have to think about balancing, taking the next step, coordination. You don't have to think about that. You just get up and you do it, and your body naturally responds. That's your file in your filing cabinet drawer. So the same way that our brain can learn to read and walk and talk and ride a bike and do everything else that we do every single day in life, it will also learn CRPS or chronic pain. And the problem is our brain will not allow us to go in and delete that file as much as we want to be able to do that. And when we're living with CRPS on a daily basis, again, our brain learns that, and it's now the first file in your filing cabinet drawer. So whenever you go to do something, our brain in split seconds or nanoseconds goes through our past events and decides, what does it feel like? How do I act and how do I react? What do I do in response to that? And when it gets to the same folder, every single time you have to expect the same outcome. So when we start changing that dialogue in the brain and rewiring the brain with neuroplasticity, we can change the response. And it's not immediate. It's not going to be this magic wand or the magic pixie dust. I wish it was. But we have to realize that our brain has the ability to do this. So when we use neuroplasticity, we reshuffle that filing cabinet drawer and we can move the CRPS or chronic pain folder back to the point that the brain doesn't come upon it again. And hopefully that makes sense. Now, let me give you examples of helpful neuroplasticity. Driving home and not having to think about it. Driving home on autopilot and not even needing GPS, because your brain remembers exactly how to drive. It remembers the route. It remembers how to get you home. So that's helpful neuroplasticity. Remembering how to ride a bike, remembering how to read and walk and talk, or even if you're on a corner and there's a lot of traffic, immediately you notice that noise, but over a few minutes, your brain starts to filter out that busy noise. That is positive neuroplasticity. Now, there's also a downside to neuroplasticity, and that ties into CRPS and chronic pain, and those are great examples. So with that, neuroplasticity makes the brain and the nervous system super sensitive, kind of hyperactive to other normal sensations or normal activities, just like turning up a volume on a loudspeaker when you're not anticipating it. This is when normal tasks can become painful when they shouldn't be. But neuroplasticity can be harnessed as a tool for positive change because we can rewire the brain. So through various different techniques and practices that are specially designed, they can have amazing outcomes when it helps us rewire the brain. And science has proven beyond a doubt that we can retrain our brains to experience less pain. So therefore, we can help our brain from having that long-term signal that we typically are told once you have CRPS, you will always be living in pain. And again, I disagree with that. We can build those new positive habits that replace old problematic habits that result in a negative feedback response. So people with CRPS or persistent pain, the brain and the nervous system are essentially in overdrive and they become super, super sensitive. So that kind of neuroplasticity pulls into what they call central sensitization. Now, central sensitization means that that alarm keeps on ringing and the brain pain connection persists longer and longer over time. And many times we hear that term central sensitization or centralized pain in regards to CRPS. So what can we do about that? And how do we use neuroplasticity? I know those are the next questions. Using past positive memories to help reshuffle that filing cabinet drawer is the simplest and easy one that anyone can do. But so many times when I ask people about that, can you remember a time and a place that you felt your best, you felt happy, you felt joyous, you felt normal? And the number of patients that say, no, I can't do that, is really surprising. But at the same time, we're so focused on getting through the second, the minute, and the hour that our brain's not allowing us to think about those things. Or other times people say, when I think about that, I feel in distress, I feel depressed because I can't do that right now. So let's change that thought pattern because those past positives are actually a roadmap or a blueprint that are going to help your brain to rewire itself, to remember what does it feel like to feel happy, to feel joyous, to feel normal, to feel comfortable. So when we can use those past positives, it's really going to help you move forward. Learning ways to manage stress, because again, our body's in fight or flight with CRPS. So managing stress, managing triggers, we can't control them, but we can manage them. Now, what about creating new hobbies or practices? Photography. I've had people in office that are crocheting or knitting because it keeps their mind busy. When their mind is busy, it's distracted, it's not as focused on your pain. Now, also movement, exercise, physical activity done in a sensible way. So no pain, no gain does not work with CRPS. The more you push CRPS, the more it's going to push back. So taking small steps, someone told me early on, use it or lose it. Keep it moving, even if it's something small, and that really does make a difference. Some medications can also decrease hypersensitivity in the nervous system. However, morphine-based medications, some of the opiates, can actually make pain more sensitive, and that's the opposite of what we would think of. So with CRPS or any type of chronic pain, improving your function is also going to require retraining the brain, that neuroplasticity, and how the brain responds to pain, and it finally decides it's okay. I don't have to feel pain. I don't have to interpret it that way. So this is just a real short glimpse into neuroplasticity and how it can help with CRPS and other types of chronic pain or central sensitization. Because when we understand the brain is the command center in the entire body, then we understand that our brain can always learn, it can always adapt, and we can use that to our advantage. So I hope you found the information helpful. And I always say knowledge is power. Thank you again for joining me today. And if you have any questions or you need better footing and moving forward with your CRPS, please contact us at www.holisticcentertreatment.com or 844-994-0999. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next time.